Making decisions with AI. And you probably now think, well, I think I can do a prompt or two and then probably I have the decision. Well, is that all? We have an expert with us here today. Hello and welcome, Philip Topham.
Hello, welcome. I'm happy to be here and from across the pond, as it were.
Yeah, greetings to California. You've just written an amazing book which deals exactly with what we're going to talk about today. Craft Thinking, a playbook for clear thinking and better decision with AI. So first, of course, I have to ask, because we all know that probably the speed of light is not quite as fast as how quickly people think that they are experts on AI. I, of course, background checked your whole CV. So you are working in the industry on a very high level for a very long time now. However, it's still quite a lot of work to get these books out there. What was your motivation to do this book?
A great question. So I had saw ChatGPT hit the scenes, and I kind of dismissed it, sort of like was a toy, and thought it was pretty neat. Worked in AI, machine learning and things, and a few months later, it was 100 million downloads, and I said, "Huh, I
Mhm.
think there's a there there." And it got me reading and looking on YouTube, and I'm listening to all these experts, and they're telling me this algorithm, this prompt, this, and I'm going, this doesn't make sense to me. So I committed myself to writing 2 articles a week for 50 weeks, so 100 articles. I just wrote my 195th article on Substack, and it was to
Brilliant.
clarify my understanding of AI, not like the impact. And that's what the book became. I wrote it. A few millennia, I put some articles out. Some millennials said, "This is simple. I understand what you're doing. It's helping me understand AI. It needs to be a book." Then
Mhm.
I wrote the book.
Brilliant, brilliant. And of course, I read your book now, and I saw that one aspect which will probably trigger some people where you say, why smarter isn't faster. When you talk to boards today, most people say, look, this is all about doing things faster, isn't it? What do you mean with why smarter isn't necessarily faster?
So for the last 50 years since computers been around, it's been speed, 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 fast, 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 go quick. Efficiency, make that supply chain ship overnight. Those are wonderful things for efficiency. But this is the first tool that talks back to you. And I'm talking about the interactive ability to ask chat questions and challenge your own thinking work. That's what when you're building something fast, you don't want to run down a blind alley. You don't want to run off a cliff. You want to be deliberate about where you're going and what you're doing.
Excellent. And you probably know some people who said, oh, I tried to use AI, and look, the results when I checked them, they were basically not too precise. And you have excellent chapters on stepping into the right shoes and go for specifics. How can you just put this into words where people say, this is relatable to me? Because many people say, I just want to sit there, chat into it, and then get a brilliant result on attempt number one.
Yeah, perfect. So a lot of people do use it like they've been used to using search engines, and
Yeah.
they type in a question and they get an answer and they go, "Oh, but it didn't, wasn't the answer I wanted." And they try again. But with chat, for some reason, they ask the question, they get an answer, and it's like, "Oh hum." I like to think of chat as an intern that shows up to the day one of your job. They've applied for the job, but they have amnesia. They don't know anything about the company. They don't know what job they're doing. They don't know anything. So if you approach it from that perspective, it doesn't know anything. You have to provide that all the conversation, all that background, who you are, what you're doing, marketing, whether we're talking about marketing or aerospace engineering or drug discovery. That's where the questions start. Now it can orient itself and answer much better questions, and we can dig deeper into that as well.
Mm. Excellent. And you created a framework, the craft framework. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so craft was so I don't like the term prompt engineering because it's really about structuring the way you're thinking about things. And so if you're going to talk to this intern, you're going to tell them what's going on. You're going to give them the context. This is my company. This is what we do here. This is how big we are. Oh, by the way, your job, your role, your role is you're going to be in the marketing department, and these are the types of actions or tasks that we're going to ask you to do. You're going to do marketing copy and review and make sure it's on brand tone. And then this is the format. We're working on Instagram. We're working on YouTube, and the target. Like, what's the final T is the target. Like, who's it for? What audience are we? It's very different if you're targeting millennials versus baby boomers or some other generation. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very simple framework, but it's more to organize our own thinking than it is about prompting.
Mm, excellent. And when we now try to go beyond the first answer, I give you an example which just happened to me. I watched the movie Marty Supreme, and I wondered, is this autobiographical? Is this about a real person? Is it biographical from someone? So I asked a certain AI tool, I'm not going to name it here, is the movie Marty Supreme biographic? It's about a table tennis player. Did this person really exist? And it says, yes, it is. It deals with a person that was in the circuit for quite a while, whose name is John McEnroe. So fortunately, I am of the generation, so maybe we are quite close from that. I know that John McEnroe did a lot of things, but he definitely did not play table tennis. So I said, look, I don't think that this can be true because John McEnroe played tennis, but not table tennis. Could you please recheck? And then it said, oh, yeah, correct. It's actually about that kind of American tennis, table tennis player, and that person actually really existed. So the question is, many people say, if I have to background check everything by myself, I can actually do the whole work in the first place. And also, many people are very insecure about how to spot blind spots and biases. Can you give any advice on that one?
Absolutely. So that's very interesting. So I would never call ping pong table tennis.
Ah.
So this is something very common, and I use this as context, and it's something we naturally do as humans, which is called ambient awareness or situational awareness. I live in Southern California, and if I told people I'm going to go to the river this weekend, they would automatically understand I'm likely going to go to Lake Havasu and jet ski or motorboat around that place. If I was living near New Orleans and said I was going to go to the river, they would go, "Oh, you're going to the Mississippi River," right? They'd automatically make that connection.
Mm-hmm.
When you use table tennis, the AI is thinking more along the lines of tennis. You've got to remember these corpuses or these language models are probabilistic. So the tennis probably means tennis, not ping pong, right? Table tennis, when you say, oh, it's ping pong, that's more likely how it was described in the papers. So this is why this relationships is really important, and particularly for countries. This is a big topic. Countries have their own culture, history. They need their own language models to preserve their country's history and legacy. Otherwise, it gets a mosh pit,
Yeah.
muddled. Does that help clarify that? It's perfectly it's normal, and
Mm.
this is where if you understand how it works, it's not a frustration. It's like a gift because it's telling you what the average language feels like. And it's a gift for marketing to understand I need to be more precise in my language.
Mm. Excellent. And when it now comes to using that on a larger scale, maybe you say I'm a mid-sized business or I'm a larger business, want to implement AI. How can I do something which you in your book call like pressure testing with AI?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So there's three phases to sort of really thinking. One is called um, hindsight, insight, and foresight. So hindsight is more like you're looking for knowledge, like who's the best table tennis player. It's a very discrete fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then insight is you're trying to pressure test something. You've got an idea. Hey, I'm going to go into an important meeting. There's going to be a salesperson there and the CFO. This is what I'm going to say in my presentation. Help me role play, pressure test my assumptions. This is my plan. Be the worst case, the worst possible CFO. Ask the most difficult questions of me, and it'll do that very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pressure test your own biases, and you can say, what's my hidden flaws? What's my hidden biases? What I didn't think about? What's the oddball question I'm going to get? That's pressure testing,
Mm.
insight. And then what a lot of companies don't think about is forward thinking. Like we're in this hyper change. And so I often ask companies to say, you've got a company, you're worried about AI. Well, what do you think about it? What would an AI native company look like? And then you come up with assumptions, and then you go, well, gee, what does that look like if it's 10 or 100 times bigger or faster or more capable? What does the future look like? What's the second, third, fourth order implications? So that's how I walk through the different modes of thinking, pressure testing, tell me where I'm wrong.
Brilliant. And when now people say, okay, look, I think this is all perfect. However, I really don't know where to start. When people say, I think I have a small business. I think I want to roll it out to my people. I just don't know if I can just tell them, here it is, and then use it, just try to make the best out of it. What would you say are the first 1, 2, 3 steps if someone says, I want to implement that in my business, in my world?
Yeah. First step is give yourself permission to play and give yourself permission to type something in and get pissed that it gave you a bad answer, right? Because it's going to give you a table tennis answer, right? But if you
Yeah.
expect, but it's not the computer's fault. It was us, the stupid human, didn't know
Yeah.
how to use the tool. So give your permission to play. Remember when you were 5 playing with Legos or erector sets or whatever. Give yourself permission to play. Once you kind of understand what you can do, think about what it is your business is. And I would really use it to do research about your business, your competitors, so that you can think about what you can do. Because right now you have no clue what it can do and what could be possible. Once you start looking around, you'll be amazed at how much productivity, different changes you can do. I'm using it for marketing. I'm using it to write presentations. I'm using it to manage calendars. It's amazing what you can do. And every day it gets better and more amazing. But it's just one step at a time. Just get started.
Excellent. When now people say, hey, I think Phil can be really of help to us, maybe as a keynote speaker online or on site, or maybe he can help us with workshops, coaching, whatever else. How can people get in touch to wrap this interview up? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is to go to the craftthinking.ai website. There's a contact form there. There's all the information about the book and the speaking opportunities and stuff. Love to help anybody out in the business because I think AI is so remarkable and it augments our humanity. It's a co-thinker if we use it as a co-thinker, and we can steer what we want out of it.
Perfect. I think these are the perfect final words. Craft Thinking, a playbook for clear thinking and better decisions with AI. Philip Topham, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.